Hello, it's March 27th. We've had 3 days of beautiful weather if you're a farmer or a gardener. The sun's been shining. It's about 45, 46 degrees outside. This week, I have the distinguished pleasure of being at Summer House Natural Soaps of Cape Cod. Summer House Soaps, I've known Ann Miller and her crew for probably 8-10 years now through the farmers markets. They're here on Feeney's Lane. They have moved from Barnstable Village to Finney's Lane here in Hyannis. And she makes natural soaps. And we're going to talk to Ann, and she's going to give us the process of what happens with soaps and why it's a natural soap and everything else. But I wanted to tell you before we get going with this interview that farmers are in full swing right now. This past week, my chickens have come from Miss Scarlett's Blue Ribbon Farm, which means we'll have fresh chicken in May available to the public. I know piglets are being born at Cape Cod Organic Farm and up at Cape Farm Supply in Harwich. Everybody is starting their seedlings and their transplants. Mike Stacy's got hundreds of heirlooms tomatoes going on in Dennisport. I know there's cattle being born in East Dennis, right on the water in the marsh at Seawind Meadows Farm. That's the McDowell's May Farm. And if any of you have rough, chapped hands from gardening or from farming, or if you're just a carpenter, a fisherman, somebody that likes to have soft, great hands, this is Shea Butter Hand Balm, Summer House Soaps. I have been using this for 2 years, and I can't find anything that make my hands as soft and as supple as they need to be when I kiss my wife goodnight and tell her how much I love her. That's Miss Scarlett's. So come and buy this Shea Butter hand balm, best stuff on the market. And you know what? It's not made by a Fortune 500 company. It's made by 2 or 3 people that live locally, eat locally, employ locally, and trying to sustain locally. Thank you. I'm Farmer Jim. Hello, we are at Summer House Soaps at Finney's Lane in Hyannis, and I am with Ann Miller. Ann, Summer House Soaps, you've been doing this a while, I guess.
Longer than I want to admit.
How long's that been?
More than 15 years.
More than 15 years. Mm-hmm. What made you get into all natural soaps?
Well, it actually started off as a kind of a little mom job. I was living, as a stay-at-home mom. I was gardening and had chickens. This is when we were living off Cape in Carver, Massachusetts. Yeah. And I wanted something, a little project. Started making soaps for fun, gave them as gifts, and then gradually realized that there was a little business in that. Right. So,
you have grown. You have went from farmers markets and other little retail outlets to now you're doing national shows up in Boston and things like that to try to have people get your product into your store. Now, how's that working for you?
Well, I think it's important for us to get off Cape because we don't want to oversaturate the Cape market. Right. It's not good for the stores if every other store on the Cape has Summer House Soap in it. We want it to be special. But so that means to grow, we have to try to expand our territory beyond the Cape. We went down to the Atlanta Gift Show for the first time this January, which was kind of a whole new territory for us.
Right. Well, that can be a little unsettling when you go and sit at a booth all day for a couple of days in a row.
Oh yeah, and it's really expensive to do those shows, So we hope it's going to work out. You can't really tell until a year has gone by and you see what kind of reorders you get from the customers.
Well, it's marketing. It's all marketing, and the proof is in the product that you put out. I've used your product, and I know all of your salespeople that go to the different markets, and they have sold this, and they all have the softest skin on the Cape.
They're wonderful. I have wonderful women working for me at the markets.
What markets do you do?
Well, let's see. Last year we did 6. That would be Orleans, Osterville, Hyannis, Sandwich, Chatham, and Harwich.
And Harwich.
Yeah.
And that's probably 6 days a week.
Yeah, pretty much.
6
Yep.
days a week.
Yep.
And you've been very fortunate to move from your husband's woodworking garage.
Right, he's happy to get rid of us.
Right, to a beautiful facility here
Yeah.
in Hyannis. You want to explain a little bit about what you accomplished to get here?
Well, the business started in my kitchen, and when we moved to the Cape, it moved to a barn attached to our house, and that was good for about 10 years. But eventually, it was just too crowded, and we were tripping over each other, and it just seemed like it was time to think about moving into commercial space. So last fall, I saw this wonderful space next to Cape Cod Beer, which
That's Beth and Todd Marcus.
Beth and Todd Marcus, who are wonderful neighbors, and also they bring a lot of tourists into this parking lot. Right. So I'm optimistic that that's going to produce some good business here in the summertime. One of the things that we have now that we didn't have before is a little retail store. Right. So it's kind of an outlet store for our products and the kind of things you can't buy anywhere else, like. Right. Like our, these are like kind of like trimmings and seconds.
And there's seconds in everything that you do, and everything that every little business does, there's seconds.
Right.
And you allow them to come in and pick a sample pack, and for so much at a reduced rate, and they'll wash and clean your hands and make them soft just as great as the little gift ones that you give, but it's the tourists. Now, that getting back to sustainable, buying local, being local, creating local, it'll be a great mix with Cape Cod Beer and Summer House Soaps.
Yeah.
The reason being, women love soaps and lotions and men love beer. So the women can come over here and spend their little gifts and get their little trinkets that they need to take back, because we have a lot of tourists on Cape Cod. It's sad to say that 110 days out of the year, most businesses rely on that 110 days that tourists are here, and we have to take their money. If we're going to sustain and live 365 days, 110 days, we have to really work hard at collecting money. So that's a good brother-sister marriage type thing. Yeah. You're working with Cape Cod Beer. Now, I know Cape Cod Beer has a little retail store over there, and they've sold your soaps.
They sell it now.
They sell it now, and that'll be a great thing. Getting back to being Summer House Soaps, what is the most important thing to you that Summer House Soaps is to the world?
Well, I think that's a good question. I think we are the soap that really reflects the spirit of the Cape. Right. I think, and not just the Cape, but the ocean and the whole surround, this kind of environment. That's the way we present ourselves. That's the way our soap is packaged. Everything is very beachy. Right. Our names, our labels, and everything are beachy. But it's not just a brand. It's also, to me, reflects our feeling about this part of the world, and our caring for the environment here, and the fact that we're part of the community here, and that it's a wonderful place to live, and we want to give back and really be part of
of our whole little community,
and taking care of this very special place.
Right. Now you have retailers on the Cape that carry your product. You want to name a couple retailers?
We have dozens and dozens. I don't even want to name them. But if people look at our website, they're all listed.
Now, what's your website?
It's www.summerhousesoaps. There's an S on the end. .com. And it's you can order through the website, and it also lists stores that sell our soaps, and also markets and fairs that we're going to be selling at.
Nice. Well, I think we're going to take a little break now, and Ann is going to give us just an overview of everything that happens at Summer House Soaps. This is a beautiful little retail setting. They have a soap making area. They have a drying area. The soaps just don't miraculously show up and wrapped up in a nice little bar. There's a little procedure that they have to set and cure for a while, and then they go off to a packaging area, and she uses beautiful papers and that are they're fancy papers, because the soap is intended to be either used at home or to be given as gifts for wedding showers or birthdays or somebody's special holidays or Mother's Day or things like that. And she has her lotions that are and it's all created, manufactured. The recipes come there's recipes that Ann has worked very diligently and hard on to create a local, sustainable business that's not a Fortune 500 or some .com that's out to buy something. This is a local business, and this is Summer House Soaps, and the address of Summer House Soaps is?
1336 Finney's Lane in Hyannis.
And your retail hours are?
Well, right now they're Thursday, Friday, Saturday afternoons, but come May we'll be open 6 days a week.
6 days a week, closed Sunday.
Closed Sunday. The hours will be on the website.
And 6 farmers markets this year, plus some other little
I think
crafts
so,
fairs
yeah.
and things like that. And you have a real devoted team. You have Sarah Magruder and you have
Priscilla Durrell, Jill Ross,
and Jill,
Maggie Calvin.
yeah, and they lug their tents, they lug their crates, they lug their tables, they set up their tents. And this is rain or shine, folks. This is not on the sunny beach days. And they set up and they sell for anywhere from 3 to 5 hours, and then they tear it all down and they lug it back to Summer House Soaps in Hyannis. So we're going to go to the soap making area. All
Those are fragrances.
fragrances
Yep,
that you have a recipe.
Yep.
The recipe calls for fragrances. What other kind of things?
Well,
go
they're
into?
essential oils. The ones on the top are fragrances. The ones on in the metal containers are essential oils, which
Yeah.
are natural fragrances, natural
Right.
scents. We have about 20 different soap flavors, we call
Right.
might call them,
Right.
that we make.
You have a holiday flavor too, Christmas. and
Yep,
things
including
like
the
that.
holiday flavors, yeah. Like this one you see there, standing up, that is a slab of rose soap.
Now that's, how many pounds is that?
That's about 30 pounds.
30 pounds of soap.
Yep,
And this little machine over here that's blue with
Yep.
the red handles, it looks like a cheese wheel cutter,
Yep,
but it's for cutting soap.
Cutting soap.
Now you have there's a process with the soap. You make the soap, you mix it up in your vats.
Yep.
And then you pour it in a mold. And after you've poured it in a mold, it has to cure for how long before it gets hard?
Several days.
Several
And then
days.
you unmold it. But Betsy's going to come, and Julie, and we're going to actually make some soap for you.
All right, great,
So,
great. Now over here, these are all your flavors.
yeah, these are soaps that have been cut, and once you rack them, they got to dry for about 3 weeks because
Okay.
there's water in the soap, and you want it to get nice and hard.
Right.
Then we have women who come by and pick up the soap and take it home and wrap it for
Right.
us. And
Now-
I'll show you the wrapping area in a minute.
Now, the last time that I seen you guys make soap, I think your whole operation was in a building half this size.
Less.
Less.
Less than half.
This is quite an expansion.
Yeah.
I'm very proud and happy for you.
Thank
to,
you. We
to
love
have
it.
the expansion that you
Yeah.
you deserve. You deserve it because you
thanks.
you diligently have worked very hard to create a product that is substantially better than what you can buy at the local stores.
I like to think so.
Well, you don't have to think that.
Mm-hmm.
It's the truth. You know, you work very hard. Now, what's that big vat?
That is a fat melter. We don't actually make soap in that. That is simply for taking some of the fats which are in solid form and bringing them into liquid form. And once you get up to the temperature, which is about 100 degrees,
Yeah.
we'll pour it into one of these buckets. There's a scale there. You can
Yep.
see what's going to weigh it out.
Yep.
And at that point, you take sodium hydroxide, which
Yep.
is lye,
Yep.
just like Grandma used to make.
Yep.
But these are very
Minuscule amounts.
small amounts, and it's a very carefully calibrated recipe. So unlike
Right.
Grandma's lye soap, which might take your hide off,
Right.
this is soap that's wonderful for your skin.
Right, but with every product that's
Yeah.
manufactured, there's certain things that you have to use that you have to be very careful with.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and
And that's how soap is made. I mean,
Right.
that's all soap is made with a combination of oils and this alkaline salt,
right,
which
and
is
it's some chemical reaction
Yeah.
that does to
Yeah.
create soap.
Yep.
All right, I think we're going to take a little break here, and then when Ann, you can get one of your. Well, if Todd is a brewmaster, that must make you a soap master.
I would like. Yes, I'm a soap master.
Soap master, and
But we'll get our other soap master,
Right.
Betsy
Is
and
Betsy-
Julie.
And now are they soap masters or are they still interning?
Well, Betsy has been working since August, so
She's still
she's
interning.
good. She is good, but it takes. I've been it's taken me 15 years to feel like a soap master, so,
Right.
you know,
Well, you're
there's always
entitled.
something
15
to
years
learn.
is a long,
Yeah.
long career to do something, you know.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll take a little break and we'll get the soap girls making bubbles.
So the first thing that's happening here is that Julie is pouring oils that have been brought to temperature in this oil heater. It's about 100 degrees. And we have a strainer in case there's any little, you know, solid oils that didn't get completely melted. Or she knows what weight she's looking for. That's a scale that the bucket is sitting on. We're actually going to do 2 batches, so she's going to do 2 buckets of oil. Betsy is stirring because there's several different kinds of oil in the vat, and we don't want them to separate. You know, sometimes a heavier oil will rise up. So the oils we make soap from are mostly olive oil. There's also coconut oil, palm oil, and castor oil.
And all of them are grown by a farmer.
All of them are grown by a farmer. Right. They're getting ready to mix the soap. So all soap, I think as we said, is made with some kind of fat or oil. I mean, it could be anything. It could be bear fat or chicken fat, but these are vegetable oils. And then you use sodium hydroxide, which is what, you know, Grandma used to call lye, which is just a very alkaline salt that has been dissolved in water. And it gets poured into the oils, and then they will stir, and a chemical reaction starts to happen, where you end up with soap molecules and glycerin molecules. Okay. So Betsy's going to add, we're making sea clay here?
Yes.
Okay, so she's adding clay and kelp, because that's what's in our sea clay soap. It's also got a spearmint scent, which is really nice. Okay, she's going to kind of do them at the same time, actually.
Oh, she's a two-fister?
But she's going to say, yeah.
So we use a hand blender. It's just like you'd use in your kitchen to force the lye water and the oil into kind of a marriage. And it usually will take a bit of stirring, but
Now that suspends everything that's in the recipe.
yeah, it's like you're making an emulsion at first, but you're also letting the fat and the sodium hydroxide get acquainted with each other, and they start to create soap molecules.
Kind of like beer, yeast and,
Yep.
and malts
Yep,
and
yep,
hops
yep.
and everything else. And precise recipes
Okay.
makes a precise.
Now this is the sodium hydroxide, and we strain it just to make sure there's no particulates in there. Now it's caustic, so you have to be careful, and that's why we're all wearing goggles right now,
Yeah.
and that's why they're wearing gloves and a
Safety
good
first.
safety first, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the first thing we talk about when people come into the studio
That's
to
good.
make soap.
That's good. Everybody's on the same page.
Yep.
It seems like there's a typical routine of how this happens.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's on board.
You have to have a routine. You have to have it
Right.
kind of down to a flow. And these guys are really, really good at
Right.
working
Well,
together.
the average person doesn't know that everything that you bought here comes with some material data,
Yep.
safety material
Yep.
data, and I'm sure you have a file of it someplace.
Oh, yeah.
In case something happens, you know the precautions that you have to do and the safety measures that for if there's a spill or
Yeah,
if
we have an eye
somebody-
wash station.
Right, if
we
somebody
have
gets it in the
a
eye,
we have a
you know.
cabinet, a metal cabinet that's meant for storing caustic materials.
Right.
Anything we keep here. But basically, nothing goes down the drain. I think it's important to say nothing goes down the drain here. It all goes into the soap. Then we wipe the pots out, let them sit for a day or two. You end up with a little film of soap, basically. So it's like no more than if you were running a dishwasher. And
I didn't know beauty was so difficult.
you gotta suffer for beauty.
Oh,
It's not suffering, it's fun.
To think that
Yeah.
the average man and woman's beauty starts with some
Yeah.
beautiful people mixing up their soap.
Right.
So they smell good when they go to work and sit at their desk for 8
Okay,
hours.
sorry.
When they're not out farming.
Are you gonna?
Or
Okay, I'm gonna get out of your way when you're
I'll
ready.
do that once I keep it there.
Yeah. So what Betsy's looking for right now is what we call trace, which is a degree of thickness that tells her that it's time to add the fragrances. If you add, if you pour the soap too soon, it'll separate in the molds. If you pour it too late, you're ending up with like silly putty, and you won't be able to. So trace is kind of like, when you're making custard,
Yeah.
you dribble a little bit on the surface and you
Yeah.
can see it. It doesn't sink right
It
down.
sticks to the back of the spoon. It's getting close.
Yep. Yeah, we don't look at the back of the spoon, but it's like that.
Right.
You're looking for that little trace on the surface. And we want to keep moving it so that because the
Everything
water
stays-
and oil wants to separate, so you just keep stirring it to get it.
Everything stays suspended. And
Yeah. Yep.
It's
Yeah.
balanced.
Yeah.
Now that's about 30 pounds, you said. Mm-hmm. Now, when did you give control of making soap over to somebody else?
When my joints started to get too sore to do it myself. I mean, it is hard work.
Yes,
You're
it is.
lifting a lot of weight, and and at some point, I just realized I needed help.
Right.
If the business was going to grow.
Well, there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
Making soap, packaging soap,
Yep. Yeah.
pulling the orders.
Right. Marketing.
Marketing,
Fine.
you know.
Taking care of the bookkeeping, as you say, it's like farmers. Now this is the fragrance that's going in now, and it is a blend of spearmint and peppermint and spruce.
Nice.
Essential oils, so it's all natural. They're plant-based oils.
Peppermint comes from a plant at somebody's farm.
Yep. Spearmint.
Spearmint is the same way, and spruce
is a
is
tree.
somebody had to farm the spruce farm.
Now Betsy is mixing batch number 2, and meanwhile Julie, you see they work very well as a team, is pouring.
Look at that, it filled right up.
Yep. Oh, hey.
It's a pretty good recipe.
But there's still a little left over, and you see those
Yep. Tubes there.
tubes over there? Oops. Oh.
So that's where you make your.
We make our round soaps there, so we don't. That's why, as I said, our goal is to never throw anything away and have nothing go down the drain. So anything that's scraped from the pot that doesn't go in the big mold goes in the little mold, and that makes a round soap.
Now a piece of wax paper goes on the top
Yep.
to keep all the contaminants and.
Well, just to
flying
keep
out.
to keep it clean, I guess you could
Yeah.
say, and
You got little slits so that if it has to breathe, it,
steam.
Steam.
Heat. It kind of
Yep.
keeps it from volcanoing. Sometimes it wants to.
bubble up.
Because it will start to get very hot. There's a
Yeah.
reaction, and if you were to lay your hand on that paper tomorrow morning, you'd feel a lot of heat coming out. That's saponification. It's a chemical reaction, and 12 hours later it'll start to cool down, and you'll end up with a consistency like cheese.
What's the history on soap? How long has civilization been making soap? Do you know the answer to that, or?
Well, there's a story. I don't know if it's true, but sapo, saponification comes from the word sapo, which is I guess a Greek goddesses or a tribe of women or something
Right.
that discovered that when fats from their sacrificial site, where they were
Right,
can
right.
a lamb,
Right.
were sort of dribbling down the hill and mixing with ashes because the lye can be made from
From the ash.
wood
right,
ash,
Right.
was creating a foamy substance that was good for washing clothes. Now, that seems a little
Very interesting.
little
And that-
implausible, but that's a story that you hear.
What was that? 4,000 years ago?
Oh, it was like the Greeks or
Right,
early
right.
Greeks, yeah.
Well, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
And now, you make soap on certain days, or
We make soap once a week.
once a week?
Yeah.
Nice. And then you let it cure.
Yep, this will be ready to cut. Could be ready next Monday.
Nice.
And then it needs to cure for 3 weeks at least, until it's ready to wrap.
I'm going to stop just for a second.
You can explain what she's doing.
So right now Betsy's taking the slab that came out of the mold. This was from soap that was made a few days ago. And she's cutting it into a log. And one slab produces 7 logs. And
Well, that's like cutting cheese. You gotta.
yeah, it takes a little pressure. It's a wire. It's a wire. Yeah. Oh, wait, why don't you just do one of these now?
3 in there.
2.
And every scrap is sold as a second, either bagged up, you know, the ends, or whatever it is.
We try to use everything.
Try to use
Yeah.
everything, but those little things, you make a goodie
Yep,
bag
yep.
and so much by the pound.
Or we
by
make
the-
our sea clay soap where we take scrap and put it in a mold and then pour another batch around it and you have a pretty look that looks like sea clay.
Now, this is a drying tray.
That's a drying tray.
And you'll put a whole rack there. And you'll stick them on your drying rack. Now, is there a humidity and temperature? This building has to be kept at a constant.
We don't know yet, actually. You know, we're
Well, I
we're
know,
new
I know
here.
what your,
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
what your other processing facility.
Yeah.
You had a room that was dedicated to soap.
And it had a dehumidifier
Right.
running. But, you know, we're hoping that we don't need to do that here because it's a much bigger space and, you know, so far it's been good.
All right. Well, now, do we have somebody that wants to show us the wrapping area?
So this is our packing and shipping area, and Julie is production manager. She also is in charge of, you know, pulling the orders and packing them, sending them out to stores and also to, you know, retail customers who have ordered off of our website. Right now she's wrapping a bar. This is green tea lemongrass, and everything that we sell is wrapped in these really beautiful mulberry papers that come from Thailand. They're
Nice.
handmade by village women who put them out on.
You're helping out that economy in Thailand, which are they're local people needing local work, needing to make an income.
And it helps them stay at home with their children. You know, they can, you know, continue living in the village and.
Because the United States doesn't have the capacity to make something this elegant, probably.
Well, I haven't been able to find anything in the United States.
I mean, this
that's
is
like
actually
that.
beautiful. It's very beautiful
It's very
paper.
pretty paper and very nice, beautiful colors and really, you know, very,
Right.
very consistent quality. It's great.
Now you have you're the production manager, shipping and production. You're the soap master, and you have what was your other helper's name?
Betsy?
Betsy. She does all the soap and mixes and everything else. So you have 3 people working in the shop.
Right.
You have 3 or 4 people working the farmers markets. I do know that, you know, when season comes, you have some extra people come in to help do the wrapping because, you know, this is elegant. I can't tell you. I don't know why Macy's hasn't picked this up or you know, something like that. You know, I mean, that is something that. I mean, this is better than what you can buy at Macy's.
I
To be
think
honest
so.
with you.
So here's my little spiel about why handmade soap is better than the soap at Macy's. Because when you make soap, as we did,
Right.
you get 3 soap molecules and 1 glycerin molecule. And the glycerin molecule makes the soap hydrating and moisturizing.
Right.
When they make commercial soap, they have to take that glycerin out in order to have a product that they can mill and extrude through molds and press,
Right.
and
Right.
otherwise it'd be too sticky.
Right.
So, and when they take the glycerin out, they create a soap that tends to be a little drying. Handmade soap has a different feeling to it, sort of more
Right.
silky, doesn't dry you out because it's got that glycerin in it.
Right.
So that's my buy handmade soap pitch.
Right. Well, no, you don't have to pitch it. I mean,
Yeah.
look at how beautiful that packaging is.
Yeah.
And look at it. You know, I mean, they've got beautiful papers.
Yeah, these are our papers.
That you know, it's all hand done. It's all, you know, it's employing you. It's employing Betsy.
Mm-hmm.
It's keeping you away from your husband.
Oh.
It's keeping the flea market girls at the flea market in the
Right.
public eye.
And it's keeping the world clean and soft
Right,
and
we're
good
not,
smelling.
we're right, but we're not running any big furnaces and gas and things like that.
No,
It's all
no
done-
smokestacks here.
No smokestacks, no carbon footprint that
Right,
needs
right.
to be traced.
No effluents going into the water.
Right,
Yeah.
So so when she's done wrapping, she'll pull an order. She has a nice, she has a bigger office than you. You didn't have that big office over at your other place, but look at how it starts that
We
off.
have a lot of space here.
And you
but it's-
ship with
yep.
UPS or with
Yep.
the post office.
Yep.
And each order that goes out, handmade on Cape Cod.
Yeah.
You can't get, now-
Recycled peanuts. We get peanuts from the stores we sell to. They bring us their peanuts, so we're recycling them. So.
Summer House Natural Soaps. Look at that beautiful printing that they have here. And this has been very, very interesting. I'm happy to know you. I'm happy
You
to
too.
have been able to sell your product for years at Capabilities when I worked at Capabilities.
Great customer capabilities.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to highlight you on my local Meet the Farmer, Cape Cod Farmer. I'd like to end this series right now and say, come to Summer House Soaps on Finney's Lane in Hyannis, or go to summerhousesoaps.com,
.com.
and it's soaps with an S. And if you see any of Ann's girls out at the farmers markets this year, buy fresh, buy local, get smart, get local, and get fresh with a local farmer. And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer.
You're good.